FM. And here we are on a Monday. It's a sunny, gorgeous Monday. We're right across the street from the Jimmy Stewart Museum, of course. Just around the courthouse corner there, we could see the peak of the house, of Jimmy Stewart's house, his parents' house. And what better time to talk with Richard Roeper this morning. What a weird intro that was to Richard Roeper, the great movie critic who's on the phone with us this morning. Richard, good morning.
Todd, actually, I think that's awesome that you're that close to the Jimmy Stewart Museum. That is really cool.
Oh,
really cool, my friend.
It really is a lot of fun. Rich Little came in here, and Nick Clooney, and they made this into a really big thing. And so the museum is literally about, 50 feet away from us right across the street. Richard Roeper, of course, movie critic for so many years. And Richard, tell me about this new thing that you have set up for folks, especially during this month, heading up to the Oscars. This is cool.
Yeah, it's called "And the Oscar Goes to." It's on HDNet Movies, and people just go to the HDNet.com website to find out where it's available and their local listings, as we say. But the cool thing about this is that we're going to be featuring more than 60 movies that have won Academy Awards in the past, whether they won for Best Picture or maybe it was a winner for one of the performances or cinematography. So it's a way to really honor Oscar-winning films leading up to the Academy Awards, the 91st Annual Academy Awards, which will be on February 24th.
So do you actually get to introduce the movies, or how is it formatted?
I do exactly. With each film, I wrote all the intros myself, kind of told my own stories. In some cases, with recent films, I could tell stories about maybe knowing the filmmakers or somebody involved. In other cases, just some of the history behind it. So I get to tell some kind of behind-the-scenes anecdotes about all of these films, and then we get to run them in their entirety. And one of the cool things is, in addition to as I mentioned, some of the recent films, we're showing movies going back to the 50s and 60s and 70s, movies like Marty and Some Like It Hot, Apocalypse Now. So it's a chance for, especially younger viewers, maybe to see some of these films they haven't had a chance to see before.
Yeah. So what do? You blow the dust off of some old review and you open it up? Or I imagine movies always seem fresh to you, don't they?
It's interesting you say that. In some cases, even for myself, I haven't seen these films in a long time. So with that, when I sat down with the folks from HDNet and we went over the list, I went back and watched some of them. One of the cool things is how well some of these movies hold up. A movie like In the Heat of the Night from 1965, which is about, race relations and law enforcement, and obviously has great performances as well. And you watch something like that, you're like, it's amazing how so many of these movies still resonate today.
Yeah. In the Heat of the Night, was that Steiger?
Yes, it was. Absolutely, yes.
Oh, man, what an actor he was. What an underrated actor. Everybody that was around him said that man's a fantastic actor, but then the general public thought, that's another Rod Steiger thing.
Well, and that, there's a lot of, he's sort of like, Gene Hackman is another one who just recently celebrated, I think, his 90th birthday or something like that, where he's so good and so natural that maybe sometimes gets overlooked. Yeah,
you're absolutely right. So this is on HDNet, and it's all month long, and people can just tune it in, and there's Richard Roeper, and he's saying, hey, here's a cool movie, and this is why. How much fun? Yeah, and how much fun was that for you?
Oh, it's it was a blast, and again to kind of revisit these films. We also we filmed this we recorded this at the Hollywood Roosevelt Hotel in Hollywood, which was actually the site of the first Academy Awards in 1929. So it was like being in a great sports stadium or a cathedral, if you will. All the history that's still there when you walk into that hotel. Which obviously they've done some refurbishing over the years, but it still has a lot of that history, so it was really neat to do it there.
Yeah, I bet it was, and it's such a different format now than it was. We see the films, and it was sort of like a luncheon back then, wasn't it?
Yeah, they had, as you know, they had all the Oscars like on a folding table, where you just go over and grab your participation trophy. Although on the other hand, maybe they're going back to that retro feel because they didn't have a host then, and we don't have a host now. And compared to some of the recent hosts, that might be an improvement.
Yeah, but you're probably right about that. Richard Roeper is on the line with us this morning. We're enjoying some time talking movies with him today. So, as I mentioned, we're across the street from the Jimmy Stewart Museum, and we're so proud of it here in Indiana. And Jimmy was so proud of this community. The museum itself is largely a function of the fact that he and his family just embraced the whole concept and knew what it would mean to his home community. So what's your favorite Jimmy Stewart, or one or two of your favorite Jimmy Stewart memories, either as an actor or a person? I don't know if you ever had the opportunity to encounter him in person or not.
Gosh, I never did. I was lucky enough, at the beginning of my career, I did get to meet some of the great legends. I got a chance to interview Paul Newman, Jack Lemmon. I never got a chance to meet Mr. Stewart, but I'm like everyone else. If he's on, if there's a Jimmy Stewart movie on, how can you even turn the channel? I mean, you want to talk about probably the quintessential all-American, everyman movie star, but he could do everything. I think, again, as great as he was, people don't realize that, you can put him in any role. You can put him in Rear Window, obviously, It's a Wonderful Life, Mr. Smith, no matter what it was. And he just had such a commanding presence without ever overdoing it. Just a graceful performer.
Yeah, one of the things that I treasure is the fact that I did the last radio interview with him here in Indiana many years ago, and he talked about his westerns and how he loved his horse named Pie. He rode Pie and the same horse in all those westerns. His westerns were so much different. He played such a different type of guy in his westerns than he did in any of his other kinds of movies.
That is such a great point. And again, I think it's because, as much as we love, John Wayne and Gary Cooper, but they were like these, these mythic superheroes almost in their westerns. Whereas, Jimmy Stewart, he kind of felt like, well, if I had been in that time and era, I would have been a little bit more like him, just a regular guy who could rise to the occasion.
With the exception of the Great Cheyenne Social Club, which is just so hilarious. Richard Roeper
absolutely.
With us this morning. So of the HDNet movies that you have on this month, did you rank them in terms of, okay, this is the one I like most of all, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or there were some that you said, not so much? How did you do that?
Didn't rank them, but I did find some that I kind of feel like a particular kinship to, if you will, and some that I like a film like Witness, which obviously Harrison Ford and Kelly McGillis. I hadn't seen that in nearly 25 years, and going back and seeing that. And another one I really enjoyed rewatching was Reversal of Fortune. Oh, yeah. Jeremy Irons, one of the best actors, for that. And, this day and age where there's so many films and documentaries based on, real-life scandals, again, I don't think a lot of younger viewers, maybe they don't know the story of Klaus von Bülow, but, man, you got to watch that one. That is rewatching that one, I was just reminded of what a brilliant actor he is.
I was going to say, Klaus and Sonny von Bülow, what a movie that was. Just tremendous.
Oh, man.
Richard Roeper, we're so grateful that you spent some time with us here today. I appreciate it so much. We're going to do this again.
Anytime, my friend.
All right. Have a wonderful day.
All right. Take care.
That's Richard Roeper. HDNet is where you can find this wonderful series of Oscar-winning movies all month long on your cable system or your satellite system as well.